to our moderator, who is Greg Owens from the New York City Office of Children and Family Services. And we're going to be seeing Greg's, there we go. And you can just, from the beginning. Perfect. Now, Greg, we're able to see the PowerPoint.
Great. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with everyone. And I want to just say thanks so much for taking time from what I know are busy schedules to participate in this. We've already been introduced, so I appreciate the opportunity to be with you on behalf of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services and our work with responsible fatherhood and our partners, some of whom you'll be meeting during the course of the webinar. So without any further ado, if you don't mind, I'll move forward with the PowerPoint presentation as soon as I can get the slides to move. Our speakers today are on slide number 2, and we've got Daniel Heckman, who is a management analyst for the United States DHHS, Administration for Children and Families in Region 2 out of New York City. And Suzanne Towns, who is new to our effort, is Director of Development and Community Relations at the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, one of the state co-partners in this. And Ed Lawson, who has recently begun working for the National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse as the Community Outreach Coordinator. And what we really want to do today is encourage and energize you to move forward to our September 20th Dads Take Your Child to School 2012 initiative with a great deal of enthusiasm and information. And this would be one of your final opportunities to get information about what we hope will be a very exciting day across the state, which is part of the Black Star Million Fathers March, which has been happening across the nation probably since August, as many schools down in the southern part of the state, of the country rather, participated in this earlier than September. So here's our agenda very quickly. Our introductions are occurring as we speak. We're going to talk about the current status of our 2012 campaign and share some of the numbers and data with you about who's on board and what that will look like. Our themes and logistics for this time period, the resources that we will make available to you, not just now, but the message here is this is a wonderful event on the 20th for New York State. We always want to focus on capacity building in the future. So the last bullet will be what will we do beyond September 20th, and we want to start talking about a commitment now to continue to engage fathers, engage families, and make sure that the educational experience is one that is a positive and bountiful one for all parties involved. So that said, we're preparing for the day. We got to figure out what's left to do and fill those gaps in. If anything, we hope that's very minimal at this point. And we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation today. So once again, thanks so much for being a part of this. And thanks so much, NISCA, for hosting this for us, as you so graciously have done in the past also. Let me turn this over to Dan to talk about our current status, and let's take a look at some maps and a bit of information regarding that. So Dan, if you would.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Ed, and thank you to Jackie and the New York State Community Action Association for hosting this webinar. Speaking on behalf of the Administration for Children and Families, we're just very excited about Dads Take Your Child to School in 2012. Many of you have signed up, and we're very pleased that folks are going to the website and registering. And you can see on the map here that we have a lot of New York covered. We still would like to register more sites if possible, and we really want to have a lot of folks signing up and participating in this event. You can see kind of some clusters, and throughout the middle of the state in New York, that's represented by a number of Head Start agencies, and obviously at the Administration for Children and Families, we're very excited to see a lot of Head Starts signing up across the state this year. And you can see also some clusters in places like Niagara Falls, Albany, and in New York City, where we have Head Start programs. And
www.1.
we need everyone to who's not speaking to mute, please. And you can see in the New York City inset, we have some really great representation down in different parts of Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. And if you can go to the next slide.
It's a key join, yeah.
Hi, folks.
Yeah.
If you're not speaking, you're going to have to mute your phone and your lines because we're hearing you.
So if we look at the next slide, you can see who has signed up for this year. And these are all the folks that have registered either through the Google site or folks that have either emailed or called in and said that, yes, we are participating. You can see that this year we have 206 total educational sites and 41 community partners. And then you can see across the first two blue blocks there, we have schools. In New York City, there are 90. In Long Island and upstate, 37 schools. As far as Head Start and early learning sites, in New York City, 38, and across the rest of the state, 95. And at the bottom, you can see a comparison, 2011 versus 2012. So you can see that in 2011, we had 207 sites total. This year, we're currently at 260. And actually, those numbers are as of about last week, Friday. And I know that a number of people have registered as well since Friday. So that number is probably closer to 270 or 275. If we can go to the next slide.
Dan, would you like to do the first poll?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The first poll is asking the audience if your site is signed up yet, and if you could please select either yes, not yet, or I am not participating, or I am not sure. And we'll leave this open for the attendees to answer. And we're just looking for a few more responses, and then I'll close the poll. Okay, and it looks like 68% of the attendees said that yes, they are attending, 8% said not yet, and 3% said I am not participating, and 22% said they are not sure.
All right, so for those of you that are not yet, I would encourage you, please go to the Google website. It's going to be at the end of this webinar, and I think most of you have seen it in an email somewhere or another. So please do register if you are planning on participating, or you have our email addresses at the end of this webinar, and you can also just very easily email us, especially if you've participated in the past. We already have your information. You can simply say, yep, we are planning on participating again. And for those of you that are not sure, hopefully this webinar will push you toward participating, because we know from the past experience that this event has been a really successful activity and avenue to engage fathers in educational settings. So looking at the next slide, one thing that we wanted to do for this year was really focus in on about 5 different organizing themes and give our different sites resources that they could have a focused effort around one of these organizing themes or many of the organizing themes as a way to engage the men and children on site. So those 5 themes for this year are integrating literacy improvement and homework help, job development and educational advancement, health and wellness for men and families, school safety and volunteer opportunities, which could include things like the PTA or watchdogs, and financial literacy and asset building. And later on in the webinar, we're going to hear from a number of sites and hear about what they did last year and what they're planning on doing this year. And you'll see that many of them have organized around these different themes. And we really do believe that they are kind of critical ways that you can engage dads on site. And so we have another poll question that we just want to ask and see how many people are doing which of the planning themes. And if you are not sure if you're participating, just select the one that you would like to do.
And we'll just take a couple more seconds to let people answer their question. And again, the question is, what organizing theme are you planning to focus on most? And then you can choose one of the options. And it looks like we have a good response. So I will close the poll, and 26% said that they are focusing on integrating literacy improvement and homework help. 16% said job development and educational advancement. 16% also said health and wellness for men and families. 34%, which is the majority, stated that they are focusing on school safety and volunteer opportunities. And then 8% mentioned financial literacy and asset building.
Great, and so for those of you that have seen the organizing guide, and especially for those of you that are still considering participating, in the organizing guide there are different resource pages that can give you a little more information about each of these organizing themes and what you could do to integrate that into your activity for the day. Greg, could we go to the next slide?
Sure thing.
All right, so on the next slide, and I'm going to give a shout out here to Mr. Mike Bobbitt, who was supposed to present this slide, and I do want to really publicly say thank you to the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development. It's been a huge partner in this event, and Mike is working with them on the fatherhood initiative there. Was unable to join us today, so I'm going to go over his information. In terms of event logistics, we're really getting down to the wire here, but we do want to make sure that everyone is thinking about some of these critical issues as you're getting ready. So as we've said already, it really is key that folks sign up on the Google site or sign up by emailing us. Really the way that we can promote this event statewide, the way that we can get people to bring resources to the event, the way that we can help you pitch it to your own principals or administrators is to show how big of an event it is. And last year, because people registered, we were able to say 207 sites participated. And we were also able to say that an estimated 9,000 dads participated. And that's all because people register. So it is important. We know a lot of people participate without registering, and that's okay. But the more that we can get people to register, it's really helpful. We want to make sure people are thinking about, are they capturing the moment with a photographer? Are they going to have any kind of coffee or food? Awards and certificates. Once again, on the Google website, there are printable certificates there. There are different versions for each of our different types of sites. So whether you're a Head Start or a school, whether you are in New York City or are in the rest of the state, there is a certificate there for you that you can print off, have your principal or administrator or Head Start director sign, and hand out to the dads that are participating. It's not too late to identify community partners or other city and state partners. It's just a phone call away. And there are programs out there that are looking to recruit participants, fatherhood programs or other parenting programs, and they may be happy to come to your site and assist you on September 20th. It's important to remember now is the time to do your publicity, to get out your email blasts, your mailers, your posters, and everything like that. This is the week to make it happen. And then lastly, begin with the end in mind. And so we want to make sure that we have photo releases for all the great pictures that we're going to be taking, and make sure that we also have follow-up activities ready and prepared for the dads that have participated. When they're on site with you, you want to have something ready and available for them to sign up and jump right on board. And Suzanne, I'm gonna pass to you. I just got going there, but I was actually going to pass this off to Suzanne Towns, our partner at the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, to cover those last two bullets. And I'm going to pass it to you now, Suzanne. Just if you want to add any comments on any of these bullets, I guess that would be great.
So, Suzanne, any comments on this at all for the last couple of bullets, or should we move forward? I'll presume that we're going to move forward. We can always come back to that slide.
We have two poll questions, Greg, after this slide, so let me go ahead and launch the poll question now.
Okay, I'll keep the event logistics slide up then.
Okay. And And the next question is, do you have a community partner assisting you with the event? And we'll just give the attendees a few seconds to answer this question. Okay, it looks like we have a great response, so I'll go ahead and close that poll. And 47% said yes, and 53% said no. And there's another poll question, so I'll go ahead and launch that right now while we're waiting. The question is stating, what will be your most likely follow-up event in the weeks after Dads Take Your Child to School Day? And we'll give a few seconds for the attendees to answer this question. And we're just looking for a few more votes. And 41% said that they will be inviting dads back to volunteer at the school/Head Start. 43%, which is the majority, stated that they will be planning another event for dads and kids. 2% stated that they will do a take-home reading or homework project. 11% stated that they will be doing something else. And 2% stated that we are not planning any follow-up.
Thanks so much for that. Hopefully, we can convince that 2% that the follow-up is equally as important because we want to engage the dads, we want to engage families, we want to talk about family engagement and fatherhood engagement throughout the course of the year. So hopefully, you'll recognize the value of following up and doing some additional activities with the dads at some point in the future. Suzanne, are you with us? So you can talk about resources and our website and the organizing guide, which Dan spent a bit of time on. If not, we'll spend a few moments on this, and then when Suzanne joins us again, we can certainly have her kind of reiterate some of these things. But again, Dan has talked about the website. When we started this 6 or 7 years ago here in New York State, probably about a year later than the national effort, we didn't have any of this available. We had a couple of schools in the state who were working with us, and so we were just kind of going as best we could. But now, because of the work mostly of Dan and the folks in New York City, we do have access to a site that has everything you might want to know about and all the materials that you might be able to use for this particular event. So we certainly encourage you to go there, register so we can keep the data and make the case that this is an important event for New York State and get some support. But the organizing guide is there, which should answer any questions. If you've never done this before, that's a real easy way to access information. And as Dan has also indicated, customizable forms for flyers, certificates, and pledge forms, activities for the teachers, the educators in the school in case they are wondering what they might want to do. We've received phone calls from folks who really want to do something and just are not clear about what they are able to do. And then the My Benefits on ny.gov is the place to go to get further information that might be useful to the fathers, to the families, to the schools as we move forward and develop our relationships. So the resource piece that's found at the google.com website is really very critical for this work, not just for the 20th, but for our engagement efforts down the road. White Plains is one of the areas in the state that had great participation from the fathers and have done so for the last several years. The Youth Bureau is in front of this effort in White Plains. And so Frank Williams, who's the director of the White Plains Youth Bureau, is to really be commended for the leadership and visionary work that he's doing on behalf of children, youth, and families there. And the program coordinator is Edwin Scott, and they've been involved with us for this with this effort for several years now. So I don't know if Edwin was able to make it onto the conference call at this time. Edwin, are you with us? If not, we'll just take a quick look at this slide. Edwin sent this in to us, and this just shows and highlights some of the work that the White Plains area and the White Plains Youth Bureau has done in the leadership role there. And you should know that I believe all the schools in White Plains are involved in this event. Ah, Ed, it's good to see you because no one can talk about it better than the person who's doing it. So I'm going to let you take this over and just talk us through this for the next couple of moments, if you would. Ed Scott from the White Plains Youth Bureau, where he's program coordinator.
It's actually hard hearing on my little system, but thank you everybody for this golden opportunity to talk about some of the great work that is going across the state. And thank you, Greg, for highlighting the White Plains Youth Bureau on behalf of Frank Williams. As you see on the screen there, we have been involved in it since 2009, and it has grown, largely because of the fact that we're doing a direct partnership with OCFS and the Mayor's Office of White Plains and the White Plains School District, and we've added African American men in Westchester. And this year, we have a couple of corporate sponsors in Webster Bank and Straight A's. Webster Bank is helping us to fund some money for the food, which is desperately needed for those who just starting up. You got to have something for those dads to eat when they come in. And Straight A's is offering some giveaways and some raffle things. The key element to our success is that we've individualized itineraries at each school, and in doing so, it gave the principals more control over creating a seamless flow into the day. And that's really important because you don't want to disturb the children's learning environment and process. And there's some teachers that are really key in making sure that we have a wonderful opportunity. We have been successful because we don't use Dads Take Your Child to School Day as an isolated event. It is not a start of something. It's actually on a continuum of everything that we do. So it really, for Greg and everybody else, it really is more of a culmination, if you will, because as you see, we do everything from an annual Fatherhood Olympics, which has been really phenomenal in terms of getting dads and their kids together to come out. And we actually give out award certificates and everything for participation in some very serious competitive events. We conduct meetings and workshops for our dads twice a month, either at our youth bureau sites or even in the school sites in collaboration with the superintendent. Greg and others who have been wonderful guests have come down to our Dad's Cable TV show, and that has been incredible for us because it helps us to celebrate fatherhood and put out the word that we are looking to help build dads and men to be more supportive in the roles of their children in the community. We do activities and special events. One of the greatest things that we've done was we had a golf event where dads and their children together learn golf instruction from pro golfers. And we were surprised because a lot of fathers came out. And what was wonderful was that the mothers that came out as well, which is something you should always incorporate, said, what a wonderful idea, because this is the first time that a dad actually took his kid golfing, or that mom and everybody else is involved. So we're hearing things like that. Our partnership with the African American Advisory Board of Westchester has been really phenomenal because they've come in with a greater level of expertise in getting parents more engaged in the school and the continuum of learning at home. So that is all to say, these things go on all year round for us, and Dads Take Your Child to School has mushroomed and has grown because we put this on our yearly calendar as just a part of things that a dad needs to do. So Greg, I'm not sure if there's anything else you need to go on about it, but that's pretty much my pitch about what the White Plains Youth Bureau does.
Ed, thanks so much for that. That's succinct and certainly rich. I want to make just a quick, stick a pin in a couple of quick points. One, the partnership with the Office of the Mayor, which I think is critical, and certainly your development of corporate sponsorship is really important also. So certainly the folks in White Plains serve as role models and I think resources. If you got information, contact Edwin, the folks in White Plains. They'll show you how to get this thing done the right way. I'm going to move on to the next slide. Thank you, Edwin, for taking time from your schedule to be a part of this webinar today. Queens, we've got the Community Education Council number 29, and is Nikita Chambers on? Perhaps talk a bit about this.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, fine. The floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Nikita Chambers, and I'm a representative of Community District Education Council 29. and we're excited about Dads Take Your Child to School because we've been able to engage and empower most of the schools in our district. Our district is comprised of 32 schools. We've grown from 6 participating schools in 2006 to nearly 25 schools this year. Our district activities will include family literacy, volunteerism, and workforce support for parents. Our schools, some of the schools will promote family literacy by distributing books to dads that were donated by Scholastic. And this encourages the dads to read with their children at home. Some schools will also host read alouds, where dads will be able to go into classrooms and actually read to students. A lot of the schools will also focus on volunteerism by encouraging dads to take the Learning Leaders volunteer course, and Learning Leaders is working with us to get all of our volunteers certified, and the more dads will be able to volunteer at their child's school. Some of our middle schools will focus on the workforce support for parents. We've been able to partner with a local automotive school as well as Long Island Barber Institute, and they are sending out representatives to speak to dads about programs that's available to them. In addition, we have invited special guests and elected officials who would be talking to schools and dads about the importance of father involvement. Among those guests will be child welfare professionals, attorneys, local judges, retired civil service managers, real estate brokers, and faith leaders. So that's about where we are to date.
Not so much, Ms. Chambers. That's again shows a lot of creativity, and moving forward, I think you've got some great opportunities there to actually impact on some employment circumstances for some of the fathers with some of the businesses that you have coming to participate in this. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today. We're going to move on. It's always nice when technology cooperates with you, unless we have another poll at the moment.
Greg, we have one from earlier.
Wonderful.
I will launch that right now.
Okay, we've got about 22 minutes left, so I'm going to kind of push us a bit to make sure we're done by 4 o'clock today.
Okay, and this is the last poll. Have you found the Dads Take Your Child to School website helpful? Yes, no, or I've never been to it. And we're just looking for a few more responses. And then I'll close the poll. And 60% of the attendees said yes, and 40% said I've never been to it.
Thanks so much. Suzanne, are you with us? I wanted to make sure that she had an opportunity to weigh in on this conversation. And so, Suzanne, whenever you do get a chance to kind of join us again, we'll certainly give you an opportunity to have your say on behalf of OTDA and the work that we're doing at the state level. I'm going to try and move forward, although it does seem as if my slides are not cooperating. So bear with me. Okay. So we've got Niagara Falls and Judy Gregory Glasser. I'm pronouncing, is it Glazer or Glasser, Judy? We haven't had a chance to. Glasser? Wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us today. Niagara Falls came on full steam last year and had wonderful participation from the dads, and we thought we'd ask Judy to kind of give us a quick update on what's going on out in the western part of New York State. And this is a full statewide effort, so we're glad to have Niagara Falls on the phone. Judy, it's on you.
Well, thanks for allowing me to participate. I really love this event. We got on board late last year. I think we planned for maybe a month or so. So we really played grab bag at the last minute. But we still ended up with 450 men participating. We have primarily our 8 elementary schools. We did have some participation at our 2 prep schools or middle schools. Some people make So that was a good start, but this year we were determined to at least double that number, so we've been planning for months. In terms of promoting the event, one of the things we've done is to order really large 8-foot by 4-foot vinyl banners, which the City of Niagara Falls was kind enough to hang all over the city for us, on signs that go across the street, on tall buildings, on places people might see them. That's been a big help, and we're doing a lot of word of mouth and a lot of flyers, thousands and thousands of flyers. Really the key for us has been our partnerships. We have we're thrilled that the Catholic Academy of Niagara Falls is joining us this year, as is Niagara County Head Start. So that brings new sites to us as well. But then in terms of the community participants, we have our Boys and Girls Club, the city. Sorry?
No, you can take off. You can take off. That's fine.
Are you with me?
Yeah, Judy, someone didn't mute their button, mute
okay.
their phone. Go right ahead, Judy.
No problem. We have our local housing authority, which
I'll stay in Brooklyn. I'll work from Brooklyn.
of people. We have Focus on Families, the police department, who is wonderful. The police really show up at all the schools and greet everyone, as well as...
Thanks for blasting us. I think so. When I
Just a second, Judy. Hello, folks. Someone's not muted, and we're hearing a conversation. So please, please, mute your mics, mute your headphones, mute your phones if you're going to have a sidebar conversation. Thanks so much. Judy, I apologize.
That's quite all right. And one of our most newly elected legislators, who's just fiercely popular, has also been running around the city, really is at every event. And, of course, it's election time. So as long as he's out there at everything, where 2 or more are gathered, he's pushing the event as well. So people are talking about it quite a bit. Then we got some assistance from door prizes. We really wanted to capture men's information so that it isn't a one-time event. We want to have these men back for the Read Across America is a great opportunity. That's coming right up in October. We always invite them back to our Martin Luther King event in January. We really want to start having a sustained project, and I'm absolutely going to steal Edwin's idea right off the slide, because we run the community access television out of Niagara Falls High School, and why I didn't think to have a TV show focused on fathers, I don't know, but now that I see that's a wonderful idea, I'm going to be embarking on that to be sure. So some of our door prizes in any event will include we have some nice things. We got signed autographs of Buffalo Bills players and Buffalo Sabres players. We've got free passes to the Maid of the Mist, which is a boat that goes at the base of the falls. And we've got some movie theater passes and things like that, our local aquarium. So we're really trying to get the word out, and we do give a bumper sticker to every father or every man who comes. And I do see them around throughout the year, so it helps to keep people talking about it. But really the key has been our community partners. This is really and truly a community effort, and just tons of people from many different organizations working with different parts of the community, fatherhood advocates, hospital people, just pastors, all manner of people really getting the word out. So I am really hoping we can at least double our number this year.
Judy, that sounds absolutely great. A lot of enthusiasm, and when you steal someone's idea, you really complimented them highly. So Edwin should feel very good about that. That's part of the beauty of sharing information so that we can get the very best out of the effort. So thanks again so much.
I looked, no little trademark next to it, so.
Good. Good. That way we can take it and sleep at night. Okay, struggling with this again, but bear with me. Okay, we've got the Commissioner on Economic Opportunity, Christine Darling, from up here in Troy in the Capital Region. And Christine, if you're on, we're going to ask if you would take a couple of moments and just tell us about what happened last year and take us through what you're going to do this year. Christine, are you with us?
We've
If you
unmuted
are,
her. This is Jackie, but I don't
okay.
hear her.
Okay, I'm going to start, and then Christine, if you interrupt me, I'll know you're there, okay? So the CEO up here in Troy last year apparently had dads with the opportunity to stay for breakfast, which is always a good thing. Some of the centers had dads stay for half the day, and as you can see, one school district had 2 dads stay for the entire day. We had a Head Start Center with their policy council rep attend the event, and I think the opportunity for outside folks who are not necessarily part of the school or the program to be a part of this is really important, and they read with the children. And they had a lot of resources available. Each dad got a certificate of participation, as was the case, I guess, in Niagara and many other places, too. And this year, their focus is going to be to continue to foster the connections with the dads and the father figures. Emphasis being placed on one of our key focal areas, which is financial literacy. We've got family advocates who are financial social work educators. They're going to work to engage the fathers, the dads, and partner them to create sustainable behavioral change. And their relationships with money and finance is real critical, given our current circumstance with finances in many of our communities. So, Christine, if you're on and for some reason we're not able to actually get unmuted, thanks so much for sending this information and for being a part of this effort here in the Capital Region, and for all the work that you do on behalf of this event and fathers and families. Forestdale Inc., a long-standing fatherhood program in Queens, New York, is also a part of our initiative, and Scott Leach hopefully is on the line and can give us a brief summary of what Forestdale is going to be doing this year. Scott, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Greg. Can you hear me? Greg, can you hear me?
Yes, Scott, if you could speak up a little, that would be great.
Okay. Well, I'll just
Can you speak up?
And, I'm speaking as loud as I can. I'm yelling. And can you hear me better now?
Yeah, a little.
Yell louder, Scott.
All right.
Good
the
enough.
Forestdale Father Initiative Program, once again, we're working with a couple of different schools here around the Queens community. We're also working with Black Star and Watchdog to actually promote some of the things they're doing, along with what Mike Bobbitt is doing, you all doing with today. We've been involved in this for many, many years with different schools throughout the Queens area, and actually this year we're going to be working with quite a few Head Start and Head Start and daycare centers also in the Queens community. We were actually a little bit taking a little different approach, and we have asked some of our alumni fathers to actually set up tables at their children's schools and also promote what's happening with Dad Take the Child to School. So we're actually having some of our alumni fathers from our program that do not normally see their kids, but actually have an opportunity to spread the word of the work that we do here at Forestdale Father Initiative Program along with the day. We get a big ask from many different places to come out. As most of the places we have, we go out and we have a breakfast with the fathers, which is always a big bang for most of the fathers who are out there, who come to the event. We're also going to be doing at a couple of different schools, helping them to start what's called a father PTA group, getting the fathers involved in starting their own PTA group or working alongside with the school's PTA group. We're finding out that's something new that's happening around the country that I found out about, and speaking to quite a few of the schools we're working with, and hopefully getting that off the ground. Also, we have local politicians and people giving out proclamations at different schools, which is great for the schools that they get something and get a local politician to show up for the day, and actually even talking to the schools about even meeting the local politicians in their community. It was funny speaking to some of the schools, some of them don't even know the local politician right in the school district they're in, but now they're out there reaching out to the local politicians to make that relationship. Also getting involved with Boy Scouts, male mentoring groups, as you see, getting them to more involved. So once again, I know a lot of times we talk about doing things afterwards, and this is an opportunity for a lot of young boys to get involved with male mentoring or male groups that are happening that are very positive, getting involved with Boy Scouts and male mentoring groups that are happening here in Queens. This is an opportunity for them to sign up and find out if there's young people who would like to get involved either after-school activities that they have or weekend activities where boys can go and learn about what it means to be a young man. Also, we have sports teams that are really showing up, signing up between some of the football teams that are going on now, different activities, getting that going. And then quite a few schools I've talked about are going to be doing art shows with the kids. Now, this is something new that I've been trying to push, and hopefully that we can get some schools to set up video networking. We're trying to work with some of the schools now, because most of the schools that we have in New York are technology friendly, of actually having them link up on the network so that they can share video information that they're going back and forth of what's happening at one school, another school, and maybe be able to make a bigger and better presentation for the day so they can share. It would always be great if we had like the chancellor or the mayor or the governor, and everybody can link up to that website and hear them speak to hundreds and thousands of schools at one time. But that's what's happening here in Queens with the Forestdale Father Initiative Program.
Thanks so much. That's a great update. Again, lots of creative work being done, and the connection with the mentoring piece is real critical. It's part of a national effort, but it's also just part of what makes sense for what we want to do on behalf of children, youth, and families. Pro-social adults make all the difference. So I'm going to turn this over to Ed Lawson to talk about what we need to be focusing on beyond September the 20th, sustainability, and turning this into a movement and not just an activity for the September 20th date. So Ed, if you would, thanks so much. I know Ed was on with us earlier, and we might just be in the process of unmuting him. Again, Ed working on a national effort as part of the Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse, along with one of the original leaders in this here in New York State, former employee of OTDA, Ken Braswell, who now runs that National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse. And they've got a lot of great activities going on around the country through the Fatherhood Buzz, which I hope Ed will be able to come on and talk a bit about. While we're waiting for Ed, Suzanne Towns has been able to rejoin us. And Suzanne, if you take a couple of minutes, talk a bit about what you and I have been working on and what OTDA has as a focus, that would be great as we wait for Ed to join us.
Greg, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I apologize for the technical difficulties earlier, but my name is Suzanne Towns, and as was mentioned, I'm at OTDA and new to this project this year, and just thrilled to be working with you all. So thank you to all of our partners on today's webinar and for the people on the phone. One thing I did want to highlight, we don't need to go back to the slide, but as so many people mentioned in the poll results that they had not yet been on the website, I just want to kind of reiterate the resources that are on the page. We talked quickly about the planning guide. I encourage you to look at the appendices section. We have put information segmented by the theme in the back of the planning guide so that as you're looking for resources and ideas for how you might plan your event and sort of who's out there that can help you, there are resources there that gives you a sort of a quick place to start. I also did just want to highlight, we mentioned quickly mybenefits.ny.gov. For those people that aren't familiar with that, that is the state's internet portal to accessing information about resources and benefits that can provide a great deal of economic stability and security for families who might be at low and moderate incomes. So as you're thinking about what resources you can make available to dads and families, what community partners you might want to bring in, I encourage you to just take a look at that site and think about what is needed in your community. And if you do need additional assistance with receiving any of the materials about any of those programs, my contact information is at the end of the presentation. Also just was thinking as we went over it, we've talked a lot about community partners. We're fortunate enough to have 41, I think it was, Dan, organizations this year that have signed on to partner with schools and other organizations. The same way we're encouraging all of you to register on the site, we would encourage those partners to register so that as we are measuring our success and thinking about what kind of resources were needed this year, or perhaps were identified that we'd like to have more of them for next year, we have a way of tracking that information and thanking those partners. So I would certainly just encourage all of you as you are planning your events to do so. I'm not sure if Ed is back on. If he is, I'm happy to turn it back over to him, but just glad to have a moment to say hello. Thank you all for your work. Ed, are you there?
I think I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can. Sounds like you and I had the same glitch. So welcome.
Okay, I apologize. Apologize for that. Again, I wanted to just thank Greg and those for allowing us this opportunity and this space to talk about this very critical issue. When we recognize about the way fathers engage in different services, we know that it's different than the way moms engage in different services. So we want to keep fathers coming back, and we need to engage fathers in a way that's going to encourage them to keep coming back. So we have to begin with the end in mind. How do we encourage fathers to continue to be engaged? One of the things that we've done at the national level with respect to the National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse is to establish a project or initiative called Fatherhood Buzz, that would allow us to speak to this population of people who we know do not access services the same way that women access services. We went to the barbershops because they were a community resource or a trusted community resource that would allow us to share information and resources and disseminate information to men where they congregate and where they feel most comfortable in sharing information. Similarly, I think we need to adopt that same approach with respect to the way we engage dads and have them be encouraged to be involved in the lives of their children in schools. We just recently came off of the heels of a webinar where we were pleased to have had Dennis Vega, who is right now the acting national director for the regional operations and the Office of Communications for Outreach for the U.S. Department of Education. And I wanted to share a couple of, one really key point that I think we got from that webinar. And one of the things that Dennis shared with us was that Title I funding can be used to fund a lot of the operations that you're engaged in on this Dad Take Your Child to School event. He actually also indicated that Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education, has already engaged Congress with a request to request additional funding to allow more parental involvement programs, because we know and he knows that critical to children's success in school is their ability to be able to access a positive relationship with their parents and specifically their fathers. So we're very excited about being able to participate in this event. At a national level, we want to share with you resources from the Fatherhood Gov website. And the website is fatherhood.gov. And we are also on Facebook. I want to share that information with you as well. To follow us on Twitter at fatherhoodgov, and to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/fatherhoodgov. The reason why I'm sharing that information is because the Clearinghouse is a resource. It does have a lot of really good information. That webinar that I mentioned to you is actually on our website at fatherhood.gov. I would encourage you all to visit it because there's some really key information. We had on that webinar J. Michael Hall, Strong Family, Strong Fathers, Betsy Landers, the outgoing president for the National PTA, and Philip Jackson, the executive director of the Black Star Project and the Million Fathers March. So they were able to share some very, very critical information. I do want to put an exclamation point on some of this conversation that we've been having. It's important that we do not have it, and I would echo Ed Scott's point that this is not an isolated event, that this is an ongoing systemic solution that we present to schools and school districts, that we are consistently going to encourage father involvement, and specifically parental involvement. Additionally, I want to also add that it would be encouraged if you could involve the entire school district and not just the local school, because if you have systemic buy-in, it's easier to get more community buy-in and other folk buy-in. So in Newburgh, I think this is the first time we're going to be participating in it in the Newburgh Enlarged City School District. They're devoting a whole month, the month of October, to parental involvement. The other point that I wanted to accent is that I know that in a lot of school districts, a lot of schools, they have a financial literacy program, and that has been a real highlight in Newburgh and others. And I wanted to encourage you all to continue to not only do something on September 20th, but also look beyond September 20th to engage the public, to engage fathers, because we're at a critical stage. And my colleague, Kenneth Braswell, said this on a recent call that we had. We are at an urgent stage, and we have to urgently pursue engaging fathers and families so that we can have great results for kids. So I thank you. I'm doing a time check as well, Greg, and I see that we only have a few minutes, so I'm going to sign off. And I would just leave you with this. Fatherhood.gov is the website. 877-4-DADS-411. That's 877-4323-411 is the 800 number that you would access national information by. And again, please visit us at Fatherhood.gov on Facebook and follow us at Fatherhood.gov Twitter. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ed, and I wish we had more time to hear all the great things that are going on at the national level, and certainly appreciate you being a part of this wonderful conversation today. We are actually winding down. We've only got a couple of minutes left, but we are hopefully going to be able to take one or two questions as we give these last few slides, which are basically just contact information. These are the folks who are on the call here. Mike Bobbitt was not able to join us, but certainly he is instrumental in the work that goes on in New York City through the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development. That's how you reach him. The rest of us, our contact information is here, and certainly you can reach out to us. And there's some of the partners that we have and continue to participate with around the state to make this thing happen. We want to thank them so much, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to certainly thank the leadership here at OCFS and our Commissioner, Gladys Cardione, who has been behind this and supported this since we started doing this work 6 or 7 years ago. So what I'd like to do now is, once again, thank you so much. Make sure you register at the Google website and think about what you've heard today in terms of opportunities for that percentage that was not going to participate. I hope we've been able to sway you and encourage you to participate. Are there any closing questions before we sign off for today?
Hi, Greg. This is Jackie. There are no questions.
Excellent. So I'm just going to say thanks again to our partners who participated in this, to the panel members who were a part of this, Dan Heckman, Mike Bobbitt, who couldn't be here but in absentia, Suzanne Towns, and certainly Ed Lawson to NISCA for your support in hosting this, and to all of you who participated today. Reach out and touch us if you need more information, and have a great September 20th DADS Take Your Child to School event. Take good care now.